Okay, here we go. Right back at it. So, Advent of Code 2020 Day 6 was released about 8 minutes ago. But before we get into that, I'm going to go and we got to finish up yesterday. I actually finished it off stream, but something happened last night. I don't know. I lost power or something. The stream got cut off, so we never got to see how Day 5 ends. So, let's do that first. Let's see. Okay, so where were we with Day 5? I believe if we go back here, so I already answered this, but just so you could see how it works. Alright, so we're trying to figure out which is the missing seed ID in this sequence, because that's one that's ours. Okay, and so we can say find seed ID. Alright, so here we have seed IDs are the seed IDs that are sorted. And so basically what I can do is I can go through this list and I could say based on the current seed ID that I have, if the next one is not is not the current seed ID plus 1, then that's the missing seed. Because if we go back and we look at our explanation here, your seat wasn't at the very front or the back, though the seats with IDs +1 and -1 from yours will be in the list. So if you see there's a gap there, right? That your seat is the gap, and it's guaranteed that the seats before and after yours are there, and etc. and so forth for the seats before and after them. So all we have to do is just go through and say, hey, is the next seat not the seat +1? That's our seat. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So all of our seat IDs are sorted here, and so we can just say seat IDs each with index, do seat index. Okay, and so now in here we're going to say return seat +1 if seat IDs at index +1 doesn't equal seat +1. Okay. And then otherwise, this is shouldn't happen, but we're going to say fail to find missing seat, right? Okay. Great. Yeah, so as long as we find the one that's missing, that's all we need there. So let's take a look at our tests. All right. I don't think, what's interesting for this one, let's just make sure these Day 5 spec, awesome. Oh, not working. Let's see. We changed this. So this, if we remember, what did we do yesterday? We added a new class list, which represents a collection. And so that's actually what we need to do there. Okay, but what's interesting about this problem is they don't really give you any examples for part 2. So I didn't end up writing any tests for this. All I did was I ended up running this on the input. And so let's see how we'll do that. So we're going to say, and then what goes in here is going to be passes find seat ID. I think that's what I called that. Find seat ID. Okay. And then so we could say Ruby Day 5 solution. Ooh, list. What's going on there? Okay. So this should be list, and that should be list. Okay. 699, and that was the answer that I put in to Advent of Code, and it got it right. So that was pretty simple. After we had a tough time on part 1, but and it ended up being part 2 is pretty easy. Okay, on to Day 6. Let's see what we got. I'm curious. This came out 13 minutes ago. Is the leaderboard for part 6 full? Actually, don't really know when it's. There you go. First 100. Well done. Well done. Okay. So now that we safely have no chance of being on the leaderboard, let's see what the problem is. Okay, your flight approaches the regional airport where you'll switch to a much larger plane. Customs declaration forms are distributed to the passengers. The form asks a series of 26 yes or no questions marked A through Z. All you need to do is identify the questions for which anyone in your group answers yes. Since your group is just you, this doesn't take very long. However, the person sitting next to you seems to be experiencing a language barrier and asks if you can help. For each of the people in their group, you write down the questions for which they answer yes, one per line. For example, ABCX, ABCY, ABCZ. Okay, so in this group there are 6 questions to which anyone answered yes. A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So all the unique values from those 3 different lists of characters. Okay. Another group asks you for help, then another, and eventually you've collected answers for every group on the plane. That's your puzzle input, okay? Each group's answers are separated by a blank line, and within each group, each person's answers are a single line. Okay. Got it. So groups are 2 new line characters, and then within that, people are 1 new line character. Okay. Parsing text. That is like, I think I was talking to somebody at work, that's half of Advent of Code. Parsing text. Okay. So we got that. This list represents answers from 5 groups. Okay, right? So we have, okay. 1 group, 1 person, right? Each person. So these are each people. Apparently not everyone is answering every question. Because that's person, that's person, that's person, that's person, 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 person. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. Got it. Yeah. Okay. 3 people combined. The answer yes. Da, 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 da. Sum of the counts. Okay, so we're figuring out basically like all this people and group stuff. I don't even know if this really matters if we're just trying to figure out what are, out of all this text, how many unique letters are there? Because that's what this seems like. But this is saying 5 groups. Okay, so why does that matter? Okay, so because we're summing unique numbers by group, is that why? So this group is 3, this is 3, this is 3, but this is just 1, and that's 1. Okay, so the groups matter for our unique counts, but the people within the groups really don't matter. Okay. Alright, so this looks pretty easy actually. Let's see what we're gonna do here. So, as always, we're going to start day6.rb. Yes, so what are we actually doing here? Customs. So it's like a questionnaire. I don't know. Questionnaire. What a long word to choose, but all right, we'll do it. Okay, so questionnaire. Boom. You know what? We're gonna call it. I don't like just that word. Just kind of annoys me. Quiz counter. Here we go. Okay. So we're reading this in, and we want to get to break it out into individual groups. So let's do something different for that. We'll call that group counter. And so this is going to, we're going to initialize this with some input, and then what's it going to do with that? So it's going to do input. We're going to split this up by double new lines to get the groups, and we're going to map over those. We're going to call that is a GORUP, aka a group. And then so what's going to happen here? Typing. Okay, that is going to become a new group counter. And then we're going to call all of these things, we're going to store in a thing called groups. Okay. And then we're going to say, so what is this doing? We're summing unique answers per group. So we'll say sum unique answers. And then what that's going to do is we're going to say sum unique answers. So groups are going to have to define this method, unique answers. So let's think about how are we initializing a group? Initialize. So this has basically, it could be one or more lines of text. So it's just a string as far as we're concerned. I'm not really sure how I'm going to parse that at the moment, so let's just put that in a variable for now. But we do know we're going to have some method unique answers. For now, this is just going to return 0. And so what are we doing? Okay, so now I'm going to set up day 6 spec. I'm going to set up some tests using this, right? Okay, so let's go. Just going to grab some. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Grab some stuff from here. I'm going to adjust this as we needed. So this is becoming 6. This is becoming quiz counter. This is new. What are we doing? So this is not seat codes anymore. This is grouped quizzes or something. Grouped answers. Whatever. Okay, so inside the lines here, this is where I'm going to grab that, put that in here. Okay. Let's do a little indenting just to make things a little nicer. Okay. Oops. Okay. And so now all of this is changing, because what are we actually doing? It sums the number of unique answers per group. And actually, so that sum, so this is an instance method, sum unique answers. That's what we're actually testing. Okay. And so now what are we going to do? So it's going to be, oops, that's a do. So quiz counter new grouped quizzes, some unique answers, and then what did they say that this should be? Because this is expecting something to equal what? This should equal 11. Okay. So our spec day 6 spec What's happening? Okay, so everything works except nothing works because we haven't actually implemented how unique answers is defined. Okay, so let's go back and just make sure. So basically, like we said, even though everything here is separated by new lines, it really doesn't matter. What we want are all of the characters that are involved, except for new lines. So any word characters, right? So what can it be? It's A through Z. Got it. And so really we just want the number of unique characters there. So how can we do this? So let's say we take our string. Let's give this a reader. Okay, we take our string and then what are we going to do with it? Let's just split it by nothing. We're going to reject any character that doesn't match A through Z. Okay. We need some help here. There we go. Parentheses. Okay. And then here, then we can just say unique.count. Okay. I think that is all there is to it. Let's see what happens. Woohoo! Test passed. Okay. Cool. So that's pretty straightforward. Oh, I don't need that. That's the whole point of the reader, so I don't need that. Okay. Let's just do that. Okay, so now I don't think that I got my input yet. Nope. Okay. So let's get that. My puzzle input. Here we go. Copy. Paste. Save. Alright, so now I can go back. I'm going to copy the stuff that I've got for my day 5 solution to make my day 6 solution. Oops, pasted the wrong thing. There we go. 6. Beautiful. Now this is, what is it? Just wrote it, already forgot it. Quiz counter. And we'll say this is a counter, and then all the stuff goes away. So what happens here? Quiz counter does part 1 is counter some unique answers. Okay. Ruby day 6 solution 6297. Does that seem okay? Let's put it in our test pass. Okay, that's correct. That's a lot of answers there. Okay, as you finish the last group's customs declaration, you notice that you misread one word in the instructions. You don't need to identify the question to which anyone answered yes. Instead, you need to identify the questions to which everyone answered yes, using the same example as above. Okay, this list represents answers from 5 groups. In the first group, everyone answered yes to 3 questions because there's only one person. Okay, in the second group, there's no question. Okay, so it's number of got it. So it's per group which ones everyone answered, and then you're summing that up. Okay, so if we go back, so how can we update this? Because we don't just want unique answers. We want answers that are present in every single row. But maybe unique answers are a way to get to that. So how can we do this? There's a few different ways that I can think of. One way is you take the count of how many people are in your group. Then you go through and you get the count for every answer. You just take all your characters, put them all together, do a count of those characters. And then you basically say, okay, this character count is the same as the number of people in the group. Everyone answered it, so we'll do that. That's kind of the way that I'm thinking of going here. I think that's probably the best way. So let's see. So instead we do something like we would have a few different things. So one, we're going to have a method for the number of people in the group. So group member count. And that is going to be splitting by new lines and then just counting that. And you know what, group is kind of, I only want to make sure that I only do this once. There's no reason to recalculate that. It's not going to change. Okay. So that's how many members this group has. So then what am I going to do? So then the next thing that I want to do is I don't want to get unique answers. I want to have all answers. So all answers is pretty much all of this minus the unique part. So right there. So get rid of that. So now we're just going to say unique answers is all answers. All answers is all of this stuff. And once again, I want to make sure that I'm not doing this more than once. Because why? I don't need to do that. No need to do that. Okay. And say, you know what? Why not? You know, I know that's only going to get called once. These might get called more than once. Let's see. Okay. So I have all the answers. I member count. Now I'm fairly certain that Ruby just has a sort of count occurrences or something. It's probably an enumerable or enumerator. Something like count. Array? Maybe it's on array. Dun, 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 dun. It's crazy how few. Oh, I'm in Rails. Dude, that's gonna make it hard. Okay, occurrences. Enumerable. That explains why nothing was coming up there for enumerable. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Enumerator. Enumerable. Here we go. Entries. I believe that's it. Returns an array containing the items. No, that's not it. Tally. That's it, isn't it? Yep. That's the one I want. Tally. Hey, Mr. Tallyman. Okay. So let's see. What do we got? We're trying to. It's not unique answers, but it's everyone. Just gonna call it everyone answers. Why not? Everyone answers is all answers. Tally, select, or reject. You know, it doesn't really matter. Either one. Let's do select. So what is this gonna look like? Let's say that this is an answer. except it's gonna break this up into a key and a value. So what this, it's gonna be the answer and then the count. And what we want to do, and we're actually going to we're going to ignore answer here. We really only care where count equals member count. Excuse me. Okay. Here we go. All answers, select, count, member count. Cool, cool, cool. And then that we're counting how many of those we have. And I think that's it. Okay. And now here. Whoa. Okay, sum everyone. Answers. We've got sum. Everyone answers. There we go. Okay. So now we can go to our tests. Let's see, what do the tests got? So, what did Advent of Code told us that given these new rules, it should be 6. And so here we can say, you know what? It sums the number of questions everyone answered per group. Okay. And here we're going to say expect quiz counter new grouped quizzes dot sum everyone answers to equal 6. Cool. Okay. And sorry, I just realized my big old head is in the way there. Okay. So there we go. That's the test. Let's see if that works. R spec, fingers crossed. Awesome. Test pass. Okay, pretty simple. So now let's update day 6 solution. Let's part 2. What do we got here? This is counter, and then it's sum. Everyone answers. Okay. Boom. 3158. 3158. Let's see how we did. All right, 1 gold star. Okay, 23 hours until the next one. Cool. So that's it for now. Although, you know, I've been looking more and more at the whole community around Advent of Code, and there's some really cool things around visualization. So I've been thinking about trying something with that soon. So we'll see. Other than that, that's all for day 6. We got a while to go to day 7. Hope that was edifying. Have a good night.